Ladies and gentlemen, it is showtime. Please enjoy the show.
It's the corner where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We got to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Chief Concerns Monday morning tight end on your Monday evening. I have had a really rough last 45 minutes. Was at my house. The power went out in the great DC storm that we were supposed to have. And the funny thing is, nothing actually happened. And it was sprinkling all day. It rained hard, pretty good in the early afternoon, but it was sprinkling probably the last 45 minutes to an hour. All of a sudden, power goes out, went outside, saw there was a big power line was down. I mean, we need to get these things underground. I mean, it's really ridiculous that we still have things over top. I mean, our infrastructure is so bad in this country. Beautiful country, but there's a lot of things we need to fix. And the infrastructure with power lines all over the place, with trees all over the place, man, we need to fix that. So anyway, that's why we were a little bit late. I had to go to my girlfriend's house, and I had to kind of put things together here. I apologize if my audio is not crisp. I don't have my normal microphone. I didn't bring all my tools that I needed for the show. It was kind of thrown together. So, yeah, but I do want to just say that's the reason why we're on a little bit late today. JD is not coming on the show today. JD actually has a birthday to go to, and it's our friend Kinley's birthday today. So happy birthday, Kinley. Hope you're having a great day with JD and the family, and I hope you're getting all toys, all the cake, all the ice cream you want, all the candy you want, because you deserve it. So that is why JD's not on tonight. JD will be back on Wednesday. He's so far as we go through everything. So yeah. And of course, I need to get to our sponsor. Dude, I don't know why it's doing this, man. Sorry. My browser's not looking the way it's supposed to look right now.
Yeah, you're buffering a little bit too.
Am I really? Yeah. It's all right. Got to deal with the this horrible weather and circumstances.
Doing it from the bunker.
I'm doing it from the bunker. Yeah. This is true. I am doing it from the bunker. Let's see who's in the chat here before we get to stuff. And of course, Chief Concerns is presented by FanDuel. I don't have time to get the images up for that. For some reason, my I don't know why it's looking like that. But anyway, yeah, FanDuel's got all the great stuff that you guys need if you guys want to get in on World Baseball Classic, NFL football, basketball, college basketball. March Madness is here, so get into all of that. FanDuel's the best for that. Let me quickly see who's in the show tonight. Linda Hunter, Will, Amda. Yeah, I have been doing a really good job, getting on and doing it as fast as possible. So yeah, I've done a good job with that so far over the last month or so. And I apologize tonight. Anna Brown says looks like a late change to the lineup. Yep, JD was scratched right before. You see, I'm good. No false advertising here. I'm going to let you know who's on the show and who's not on the show. No false advertising here. So I didn't want you guys to think JD was coming back. And no surprise appearance, but no, JD will be back on Wednesday. So, with my the way my desktop is right now, I can't really get to all the comments here, so I'm gonna do my best tonight. But it's a Teja takeover tonight. But tonight we do have our next round of prospects that we're gonna get at, and we have 6 prospects tonight. Teja's gonna be talking about 3. I will be talking about 3, and so we'll dig into that, and we'll get started right now. As we dive into the college prospects that we think the Chiefs have a good shot of getting into.
Will is having a kid, by the way. He announced it in the chat.
You're going to say something? Oh, wow. Okay, well, there you go, Tej. I appreciate that. Will, congratulations, buddy. You are going to be a good dad, And based on the way you interact on here, I can imagine you're going to be very involved with your either son or daughter's life, man. I love that.
And the beauty is, Will,
And your
either
team
way,
will, so.
yeah, either way, you can name your kid Teja because it can go, pretty much either way on that for male, female. So just saying, just throw my name out there.
Yeah, you could actually. Yeah, if it's a dude, you can go Teja. If it's a chick, you can go Tasia. Teja.
Yeah.
Like Fantasia, but short Teja.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. Will's a big fan of that. He liked that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so congratulations, Will. All right, so we're going to get into prospects tonight. Just a foreshadow for my prospects. I went only offensive tackles this week. I've seen a lot of offensive tackle since I did the video that kind of went semi-viral on Chiefs Twitter, my Trent Williams, Jason Lockett-Ford report. That got a lot of pub, and since that got a lot of pub, a lot of offensive tackle talk has begun since that. So I'm going to talk about that ad nauseum tonight. And Teja's got some edge rush galore on his side of the thing. So we'll get to that now.
Do you want to talk about Fields at all?
Oh yeah, let's talk about Justin Fields. Yeah, Chiefs trade for Justin Fields, traded a 2027 6th-round pick for Justin Fields to be our backup quarterback this upcoming season. Probably the most athletic backup quarterback we've had for Patrick Mahomes to begin the season.
Yeah.
The quarterbacks before for Patrick Mahomes heading into a season. I'm not talking about Oladokin. Obviously, Oladokin was an athletic guy, but he wasn't the backup. But going into a season in the Patrick Mahomes area, you have Chad Henne, you have Matt Moore, you have Blaine Gabbert, Gardner Minshew, Carson Wentz, and now you have Justin Fields. So Justin Fields, most athletic quarterback. People have made the argument we can bring back, QB sneaks again. You can have more fun with that kind of quarterback. He's a dual threat quarterback that we haven't had in a long time. I mean, Tyler Thickman's the last dual threat quarterback we had, like in the lineup, or has potential to start, which is crazy. And then Terrell Pryor, but I think we actually tried to make him a tight end, but that never actually we never actually got reps. He was never going to make the team. But Andy Reid went out and got Michael Vick when he came out of jail. He was able to utilize his strengths, kind of gave him a kind of new lease on life. But again, he took over McNabb, whereas Fields never going to take over from Mahomes. He might play a Week 18 game. He might play a Week 1 game, but for the most part, we're never going to see Justin Fields. I think it's a home run for us to maybe utilize some packages for him, and I think it's a home run for him to go like the Sam Darnold route, where he can go to Kyle Shanahan for a year, learn that, get a new lease on life, a new perspective, and get that confidence again. So I do think it's good for both parties in that sense. I like it. I think it's cool, and I think it's the best backup we've had in the Mahomes era. So I think the most athletic and most talented quarterback we've had in the Mahomes era as a backup. So what are your thoughts on it?
We went over a lot of different options. We never talked about him. I think we knew it was going to be a high-profile quarterback. I just didn't think it was going to be such a contrast to that's a different contrast to what we've had in the past. It's like a complete 180, which is very interesting. What's cool about it is it's not just a insurance policy in case, Mahomes needs a couple weeks, right? It's someone that's completely different. So when Mahomes does play and you want to put Fields in there for an extenuating circumstance, you can do that now. I mean, you could do a sneak or you could do a fake sneak and have him bootleg out. I mean, good luck, right? But between Fields, Walker, DeMarcado, we have the most juice we've had since like Jamal Charles back there, which is pretty crazy. So we have we can do a lot of different things. I know it's going to frustrate some people when Mahomes gets yanked off a field on like a 3rd and 1 or a 3rd and 2. But just expect that to happen, because what the hell is the point of having Fields at that point if you're not going to just try to take advantage of the defense just not being prepared for Fields, because they're not going to be. So it's just going to completely throw defenses off. So it's good to have that extra edge, I think. come big moments, come big fourth downs, come big third downs, playoff moments. Just when the stakes are really high, I don't think Reed will hesitate to put Fields in there just to throw the defense off because he thinks he can take advantage of it. So it's cool. I really enjoyed it, and it's a low risk trade. It's a conditional sixth. It's not. We don't even know what the conditions are. At least I haven't seen what they are yet. So the conditions, we don't even know if it will be a 6th rounder in the end. So it's a conditional 6th. We probably have an extra. I think we have an extra 6th from the Sky Moore trade anyway. So I think, yeah, I mean, we didn't really lose anything in this whole deal. Only paying $3 million. It's one of the cheaper backups we had. You know, it's in line with the other cheap ones we've had. The most high profile around the same price, which is cool.
I do find it funny that, right, it solves our backup quarterback situation for a year. And it's like every year we've gone like the 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year. So we'll have the same kind of conversation next year about who's going to be our backup quarterback because it's a 1 year, pretty much $3 million deal for Fields. Do like the fact that Jets are eating most of that contract, so I'm taking about $7 million from that, which is amazing. So
8, actually, they changed it.
8?
Yeah.
Wow. So I mean, yeah. So we'll have this discussion next year, but I've seen some people try to say, "Oh man, Chiefs are going to go into the season with Justin Fields as their starting quarterback." I genuinely think this trade actually, for me, and this might be different than a lot of other people who are out there having hot takes. I do think this signals that he actually, like Mahomes, will definitely be back week 1. I think this kind of move is more of like packages, certain packages. If we were actually scared that he wasn't going to be at the start for week 1, I think they would have gone the Flacco, the Russell Wilson route, a guy who can just be a game manager type guy. Fields, if you're going for a game manager, this is not the game manager type of guy. So
certainly wasn't last year, but the Jets were a disaster. Anyone who's trying to judge him on the Jets, it's crazy talk. They were a disaster last year. I mean, Rodgers didn't look good with them the year before. So it's not like, we're trying to like dog Fields, but not dog other guys. Like not many guys would have looked good in that system last year with those weapons. It was the worst weapons in the NFL and one of the worst systems in the NFL.
Yeah, no, 100%. But yeah, love the trade. I think that's a splashy move. And yeah, I think if you are a fantasy owner, you do have Kenneth Walker, if you do have Patrick Mahomes, be ready. Because red zone, you might come in, he might get some sneaks and some direct quarterback snap runs. So be careful about that.
I'll tell you what, a read option with 3rd and 1 with Fields and Walker is lethal.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guess wrong on that one, that guy is going to run for 30, 40 yards on that play.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if you are familiar with Justin Fields' game, I mean, look up some of the stuff. And I will say, actually, I thought it was pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure I looked at his touchdown interception ratio last year. Maybe 7-1. Yeah, he only threw 1 pick.
I watched some of those games because I had him in fantasy. It was pretty rough, man. That doesn't do it justice.
No.
He just wouldn't throw the ball. It was more infuriating than like a guy throwing poorly. He just wouldn't throw it. He just refused to sometimes. Like, it's just like, dude, you have to let go of that ball. So there will be some frustration if he does have to start games. Let me warn anyone who hasn't watched a lot of Fields football last year. But again, bad system, no weapons. There are other things that play into that, right? It's not just a Fields problem.
Right. Well, hopefully he doesn't have to start any games for us. Hopefully it's just a week 18 bye week kind of game. Digger, more proof we will never see Pat run a QB sneak ever again. That is definitely true.
Yeah.
And I do think it's telling that we were apparently in on Anthony Richardson, and then we ended up making a trade for Justin Fields. So it sounded like they really wanted the athletic type of quarterback, which I found interesting. That we were in on Richardson, and we ended up trading for Justin Fields in the end. So we were really craving that type of guy, and I think that's very interesting. And then we do come away with one of those guys. And I remember seeing the Anthony Richardson thing. I was like, yeah, I don't know if we're going to do that, but hey, we did it in the end. So
pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Fields has shown way more than Anthony Richardson has shown in the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to go to our college prospect highlights for this episode. Remember, we have 6. Teja will be going over 3 guys. I'll be going over 3 guys. If you have any questions about the guys we're going over tonight, feel free to throw them in the chat, and I will do our best to get to them. As always, love y'all. So let's begin. Let's begin. So Teja, take us away with your first guy, buddy.
Yeah, TJ Parker up there. Okay, so let's go TJ Parker. So let's just go over the bare bones here. You have 6'4". So I mean, I have slightly different measurements, but they're all around the same. 6'3", 265. I will just go over his bare bones. He is extremely solid. He did have a down year. A lot of people question if that's just a Clemson problem, right? A lot of guys didn't play well for Clemson this year. So it's not just a TJ Parker issue. He just didn't hit his ceiling, right? Like I think he was a lot of people's number one DN coming into the year, top 3 DN. But he does still have, even with the year he had, not an extremely high ceiling, but he does have a high floor. He's a 3-down edge. He does have some moves. It looked a little tighter, a little less agile this year. He did dominate in 2024. Let me see with his stats. He had 11 sacks and 6 forced fumbles. 6 forced fumbles were a school record. Pretty cool. This last season, rough year, did finish off better than he started. He had 3 sacks against USC to end the year. Great Senior Bowl workouts. So his comps are, this is kind of all over the place. Bradley Chubb, Rashawn Gary, and Trey Hendrickson. So his range is about the 25 to 40. So that would be either our second first-round pick or our second-round pick. And this would be someone you go after if, let's say, Bain's not there, and you pivot and go receiver. Most of my mocks, just full transparency, I usually go receiver at 9, the end at 29, because I like the options there.
Now, what are his, like, obviously, a lot of these Clemson guys had down years, him, Woods, a lot of these guys. It kind of reminds me of Texas A&M last year, where a lot of the edge rushers or the D-line guys had bad years, but all of them were supposed to be better than they were. What would you say, like, what is his strong? Is he, like, because there's a lot of guys in this draft who are, like, just pass rush guys, like Oweh type dudes who are just going to be on the field for pass rush, make it the heck out of there. Is he, like, one of the last, like, guys you can kind of leave out there, or is he susceptible against the or is he one of those guys that can get beasted against the run?
No. He sets a good edge. Okay, like short area burst. He's not twitchy. He's a powerful edge rusher. You see by his size, he's become a big dude. He's not like he's not the most twitchiest. He's not the fastest, but he sets a good edge, which I know is boring to a lot of Chief fans, but he does do that well. He uses good hands, and he's powerful off the break. Those are pretty much his strengths. But a 4.68 is not too bad. I don't know where he ranks in 40 time, but he looked pretty fluid running that.
Yeah. So he's like one of those guys for me. Like obviously the 29-40 range. And I did read we met with him at the Senior Bowl, and I believe we also met with him at the Combine too. So like there is interest there. For TJ Parker from our seemingly from our front office. Where would you say he is ranked behind? Like, would you have him against? Because I've seen some fans. I know people will say Falk is going to go in the top 20. I've seen some fans say they might have TJ Parker than Kendrick Falk, and I've seen some.
I would.
Oh, you would too.
Yeah.
So where's Parker for you? And he's also 21 years old. I mean, so he's a youngerish guy here as well.
I think he has more pass rush juice than Falk. I just don't know if Falk's game will ever translate to that. We've seen that with Parker. Now, did he have a better year 2024 as compared to 2025? Sure, but I've seen him do it, right? He just had a down year compared to where he was. But he does have long arms, and he has a really good bull rush. That's pretty much his strengths. That's why he has gotten some, like I said, the Trey Hendrickson comps, and their measurements and everything are pretty close to each other actually coming out of school.
So where do you have him for you? Like if you were to rank your top 10 edge rusher, top 5 edge rushers?
The top 3 we already know.
Bain,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Bain, Bailey, Reese. Even though it's funny, man, everyone has Reese ranked so high. Like, if you watched Reese's film of pass rushing, you would be done in like a couple minutes. Like, he didn't do it a lot last season. So it's weird. All three top guys have their own problems, right? Reese, it's mostly projection because you haven't seen him do it a lot. Bailey, you're a little more scared about his run defense. He did show he could do it this year, but is 1 year enough for you to just be sold on him being a good run defender? And then Bain, we all know Bain's problem is the arms, right? So you're worried about him being an outlier, or you're hoping he's an outlier. After that, I mean, you kind of have, I think the next guy for me is someone I'm going to talk about later is Akheem Mesidor. He's 4 for me. 5 would, I think 5 would be TJ Parker. And then 6 for me would go probably Gabe Jacas and Zion Young. And then Falk. I don't know, man. I just don't. Falk's like a 3-4 DN or like a eventual D tackle in my mind. I just don't think he has the juice for that. I think if you want to mold him, like he's like the Clay type guys that guys teams think they can mold. Go ahead, have at it. I just don't. I don't want my team to do it. I just think we need a little more of a ready-made pass rusher there, because you're going to have Falk like develop, and then like he finally comes around as second to last year under contract, and we don't pay him, and then he goes somewhere else. Like it's a waste. There's no point in that. I mean, we're our rate of signing guys for second contracts is not high. So why have a guy who's going to just come into his own in his last year with us?
Yeah, I feel like the Falk was more of like you're drafting him on potential because he's so young. And it's like, we don't need to do that.
No. So I just want the guys that are a little more ready to compete right now.
Yeah, guys are ready to step in, step up. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, look, where are we at right now? We're win now, man. I mean, we might be 9, which are mostly rebuilding teams, but we're not rebuilding. We're retooling, right? So if you're retooling, you want like ready to play players. All 3 of my guys they're like ready to play right now.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the disparaging comments I've heard towards Veach's draft class last year. I guess last 2 years, I would say. People just don't say, like, people are saying you're not drafting guys who are ready to play, obviously, because you didn't be barely played. A lot of the guys last year from last year's draft class. It's a lot of people say. I mean, but you can make the argument like Rashard Smith was a 7th round pick, and he was on the field before Kareem Hunt was this year, right? In that Chargers game. I think it touches a lot, as we would say. Jalen Royals never, didn't play much this year. Pasa didn't play much, but Gelati got a good amount of playing time. Simmons started right away.
Norman Lott, I think, would have played a lot more if he would have stayed healthy.
Yeah,
he was getting better. He was progressing, so it was too bad for him to get hurt at that point.
And I do think he'll have I think him and Gelati will get a lot of rotations this year with whoever we do draft. So even
Noah Williams, who is probably our best rookie, they even got criticized for inconsistent playing time with him. So it's like your best rookie, didn't even get consistent playing time, which is crazy.
I don't know what that is because he showed he could play. So I don't know if it's ready to play or just to trust. Who knows?
They can't do that this year. Like they can't do that. We just don't have a choice. Like these guys are going to fill up our roster. We didn't fill up holes.
It's a 2022 draft all over again, and all those guys are going to have to play.
These guys are playing like right away, and I think you're going to see that in our draft. We're going to draft mature players who are ready to play right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely see that. And TJ Parker definitely strikes it for me. You'd say 29. You don't think he lasts to 40?
He could. He's got 2nd-round grades from some. He's got like late first from others. If you see mocks, a lot of mocks have him in the 20s. With a guy like that, all it takes is one team to say, I think he's closer to his 2024 version. And that's it. That's a pick in the 20s.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't mind. I mean, I like a lot of these edge rushers, and some of the guys you're going to talk about tonight. The next guy I'm big on. That's what Michael Brennan says right here. That's why I like Mesidor. I think he's coming in and running, taking advantage of his age and experience, and that's 100%. What Teja's talking about next. So, All right, so let's get into the non-hot topic is right tackles. I know you guys love right tackle talk. It's very riveting conversations. There's
It's
some people,
necessary.
some people really want to talk about these guys. And like I said, I talked about Trent Williams last week and had a lot of people talking about the tackle situation. So I'll begin. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's the rain in the background. It's horrible.
I can't hear it.
You can't? Okay. Okay, so let me talk about Francis Mauigoa from Miami. Francis Cece Mauigoa. That's I guess his nickname or his middle name. I don't know. But the reason he's getting serious buzz is potential fit in Kansas City is obviously because of our right tackle having the vacancy there with Jawan Taylor being gone. The 6'6", 315-pound tackle out of Miami has been a 3-year starter, logging over 2,800 snaps and 42 straight starts. So durability check, experience check. And in 2025, he allowed just 2 sacks in 16 games, which is exactly the reliability you want on the right side that we have not been getting consistently from the right side. Thanks to Juwan. So Mauigoa, a violent offensive lineman. He's very violent. It's very Trey Smithy when I watch him play. Very violent and tries to bury dudes. Very violent punch. His anchor against bull rushes is elite. And when he's involved in double teams, the line of scrimmage, he's legit. I mean, he's a real deal. So he's a natural right tackle. So a lot of these guys who are first round picks generally are like left tackles, but he's a right tackle, a natural one. So some scouts believe his dense build and core strength could also translate to being a Pro Bowl level guard play if needed. So versatility, which is not so much a bad thing in your Andy Reid's offense. I mean, we saw Kingsley was a tackle who moved to guard, and it's developing there now. But for the fact that he's a right tackle who can play guard if need be, it's not the worst thing in the world. But Mauigoa, 5-star recruit, number 1 offensive tackle in the 2023 class. In Miami, he went from freshman All-American to first-team All-ACC to contest as All-American while winning the Jacobs blocking trophy as the best offensive lineman in the ACC. Not perfect. Speed rusher from wide alignments contests his lateral quickness, which is very kind of concerning since we are going to the NFL and you are playing with much faster guys. Hand placement can drift outside sometimes, but those are technical refinements who, if you do trust Andy Heck, as I do, I think Andy Heck can fix that. So Mauigoa, a lot of the experts say he's got a floor of a decade-long starting right tackle and the ceiling of a Pro Bowl offensive lineman. And you put him next to Trey Smith on the right side, you might have one of the most violent right sides in football between him and Trey Smith. So that is a guy that I have as far as potential pick at probably number 9. I don't think Mauigoa is going to drop to 29.
No.
If he does drop to the 20s, maybe they trade up. But Mauigoa is a guy that he could be someone we look at number 9. If all the hot topics, all hot names aren't there at number 9, he could be a dude they look at. Especially, and that's one other thing too, with the whole Trent Williams report last week. Sure, people could say Jason Lockenford has no idea what he's talking about. Sure, I'll give you that. But even so, 1 week prior, we were linked to the tackle for the Packers, who just got signed by the Titans for a 1-year $10 million deal. And then on the first day of free agency, we were amongst the 3 teams aggressive to getting Jeremiah Illuminor from the Giants. He ends up signing and staying in New York, but that's there. So what I'll say is, you'd say the Trent Williams report isn't real, but if there's smoke, there's fire. And I do think we are involved and interested in a tackle. But for me, the one thing I'll say is why I don't think we're going to draft Mauigoa. I think if we do draft him, maybe one of the better fits. I think we want an experienced guy at tackle. I don't think they want to do the whole development thing again. That's how I see it. But nonetheless, what are your thoughts on Mauigoa? I know you've done some deep diving on him as well.
So first, I want to give my opinion on just the right tackle in general. I think it comes down to what you want in a right tackle. Do you want a guy who could take the job, possibly take it this season if Moore struggles? Or do you want take a guy thinking Moore's the guy in 2026 and you develop this guy for a shot to start in 2027 beyond? Because those are 2 different things, right? Those are very different. And it opens up who you look at in the draft if you are going to go with the second option. If you want a guy who can play this year and be like, hey man, best guy plays. Kind of like what you did with Simmons last year. Like, we had a starting 5 O-line last year when we drafted Simmons. We just freshly signed someone to play left tackle. Simmons came in. He was obviously given the job because he's the best guy on the field, which I think should be the way. Do you do that again by looking for a guy in the first round? Those are the kind of guys you can have in mind. It opens up a little more to the more developmental prospects. If you go later, there are actually even some guys moving up in the first round who are developmental prospects who have a really high ceiling, who are not ready to play right now. Now, if you want one of those guys, I'd be very upset because they're not going to probably see the field and you don't know how they're going to be, right? I want a guy I know who's going to come in here and be a starter. And I think our standards are a little lower too. I just think we want a solid right tackle for the next like 5 to 7 years. About Mauigoa specifically, my guys at NFL SC raved about him. They had a really good background story about him. I was telling you yesterday just how, he went away as a teenager growing up in Samoa, had to talk his family into basically letting him play in Miami because there's not a huge Samoan, just a lot of roots there, just not. So he pretty much left with his brother and grew up, like he went there at 18 and 19 years old. He's 20, he's really young, like had the weight of the world on him with his entire family, pretty much performing. Like he had to come through with talking them into letting him play in Miami as a kid and killed it. Live up to the hype. He carries his weight well. You can't really speed to power rush him. He just absorbs it. He's got really fast feet for his size and really good strength. The problem is, like you said, lateral agility is just average. And he doesn't have extremely long arms, right? He's right around that, I think, that threshold. 7 penalties last year. I think he had 3 holding and 3 false starts and 1 other one. But one really great point they talked about was, who do you go up against every day in practice? Mesidor and Bain, dude. I mean, like can you get more prepared for the NFL than going against Mesidor and Bain every day? I mean, that is a battle. That makes you that'll just make you good or just pummel you down to crap. Okay. So that's the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing with him, and this is what a lot of scouts say. Every time I listen to a different podcast with scouts that I like and analysts that I like and I trust, they always say the same thing about him, and it's, you're probably getting a Pro Bowl guard out of him. But he's been good enough as tackle in college to give him a couple of years leash length to let him play tackle. He could fail his way into a Pro Bowl guard career. That's a pretty good floor, right? If your floor is awesome guard for you, that's not bad. But the problem is, I don't think that's what we have in mind. I think we want that guy at right tackle. So he's very fast. I read that I saw a tweet. He clocked at 18 miles per hour this year. That's a massive dude running that fast. So he's a really good prospect. He's just kind of like the other guys that were, in general in that first round. It's developmental or it's guard tackle hybrid. So he's just one of those guys. I wouldn't hate the pick at 9 just because tackle is a premium, and Pro Bowl guard obviously is amazing if you can just guarantee me that, which no one can. But I do see the logic, not that I'm rooting for it, but I do see the logic in taking tackle at 9 because it is a premium position. It is hard to find. And we have a vacancy there after this season. And the guy we have now was the guy we freshly signed last year, who was replaced by another rookie at 31 31. So could the guy at 9 replace him? If the guy at 31 replaced him last year? Absolutely.
I got a question from DJ Jazzy. Is there a run blocking stat on him? The one stat I saw for PFF, he was the number 22 run blocking offensive tackle in 2025, which Miami was 6th nationally in yards per carry and 19th in rushing touchdowns. So he was definitely a big part of that offensive line and off that offensive unit. So there you go, 22nd overall offensive blocking tackle for rushing. So pretty good rushing.
Yeah, I can try to find his. I have his zone and gap grades. I had him up a second ago. Give me 1 second, but
Michael Brenner says his floor is replacing Kingsley. Yeah, I mean, hey,
yeah,
yeah,
100%. His gap run blocking grade was 70.8 and his zone was 75.9. Pretty even. You usually see one guy excelling at one, not the other. I think it's because he's so athletic and he's so speedy, he can do both, and he's so big, he can do both. I think laterally, you're only really worried about him with speed rushers, just because his lateral agility. I think everything else he pretty much has already. And he's 20.
Yeah,
like, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's pretty much ready to play, who could play now. I mean, maybe not day one. I think he could play day one, but I think, if Moore sucks, I think by week 5 or 6, Mauigoa will be ready to play. And he's big enough to handle these guys. He's big enough to handle the power rushers. The speed rushers you might have a problem with. But I don't think that's a day one problem. I think it's just like a who he might be problem. So I don't think that's something he can get, work away from.
It's hard to find youth and experience at the same time. He's young and he's been starting since day one, right? So he has the snaps and he's 20 still. So that's a pretty unique combination as well with him.
Yeah, and he had a great the other thing I was going to mention too is what he said at the combine when they asked him about guard, because it's that known that he'd be a great guard. So they asked him, how do you feel about playing guard? And his answer was great. He was just like, there's 5 spots in the O-line. I just want one of them. So great attitude to have. He's got Fuanga comps.
Gotcha.
So
Jeremy Gallagher says, any depth in the trenches is good. Would you guys take a tackle over a guard? Yes. We just signed Mike Caliendo, so we obviously need it. He's the best offensive lineman in the draft.
That's up for debate. The best lineman in the draft part. I think it's very open. I mean, I've seen so many different rankings of these guys. So
yeah,
I mean, besides the guys you're talking about, I mean, I've seen Monroe Freeling. I've seen him go top 7 in mock drafts now.
Yeah, I love that because I don't want him at all. So
I would. Oh my gosh, I would absolutely love that. He's a high ceiling guy. He's a guy who's raw, but he just has it all there, and you're just counting on your staff to make him like what he is supposed to be, right? I don't want that. We don't have time for that. That is not where we are. That's for a rebuild. That's the difference between a rebuilding team and a retooling team. Retooling team doesn't go after those guys. So that's why I'd be really upset if we went Freeling.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna get to your next guy. So we're gonna stick with Miami and the Hurricanes. Here we go.
So this is a long one because there is a stigma with him, just like his teammate, not Mauigoa, his running mate Bane. So I will start from the top. 6'3", 280, had 12.5 sacks last year, four first fumbles. He was pretty much unblockable in the college playoffs. He had 5.5 sacks on the biggest stages. He is a little older, and that's what I'm going to get to later on. So he'll be 25 on draft night, by draft night. So he's played. He committed to WVU. He played at 280 as a DN. He played nose tackle, and he lost weight each season to kind of get where he is right now. So he is a little lighter than he's been. I think this year he was around 6'2", 260, 265. Everyone raves about his tape. Everyone I watch raves about his tape. NFLSC, Trevor has him as number 2 pass rusher behind Bane. Number 2 pass rusher overall, right? Obviously, technically refined, just like Bane is. He had a great teacher. Jason Toe's a great DL coach. Launches off the right foot every time. Great handwork. No false steps. Very disciplined. Very disciplined in his leverage. Got club, arm over, swim, cross chop, club rip, 2-hand swipe. His grades in PFF are all elite, wins above average, among highest in the D end in the country. He has all kinds of sacks too, effort sacks, coverage sacks, athleticism sacks, high motor. His comps are Jonathan Grenard, Byron Young, and Will McDonald. Let's get to the negative, because I mean, those are just. It sounds like he's a top 5 pick based on that, right? And I was listening to a debate today. Actually, it was a mock draft on the Check the Mic. They had the franchise guy, and they're doing a mock draft, and they spent about 10 minutes on the Chiefs. So if you ever want to hear a good conversation with that, check that out. But they were at a loss who to go to, and the franchise guy was like, I proposed this on my own show. What about Akheem Mesidor? At 9, he said it. And they were like, if he was 2 years younger, I'd say yes. No question about it. Here's my question, though. This is why I deep dove this, because I keep hearing about his age, right? Okay, so he'll be 28, turning 29 in year 4, right? In year 4, when he's seeking an extension off that first, let's say we get him at 29 somehow, or we trade up to 20 and get him. He'll be 28 when he's seeking that extension, okay? Let's say he plays up to expectation. Let's say he's not a 15, 18 sack guy. Let's say he's a 9 to 12 sack guy. He has 1 year of 11, 1 year of 8, 1 year of 9, 1 year of 10. He's worthy of an extension. Let's just say that, obviously. Are you going to care about him being 28? Is 28 going to turn you off of giving him another 3-year extension on that final year of his deal? I mean, Henderson's just turned 31. He just got $28 million over 4 years. Chubb just got 3 years, $15 million per. He'll be 30 by the time next season starts. Draymond Jones is 29. He just got 3 for 36. Max 35. He got a 1-year, $18 million deal. Crosby's 29. He's making 35 a year. Sure, I'm talking about elite or borderline elite players, but if you're taking Mesidor and your whole thing is, oh man, when we re-sign him, he's gonna be 28. Well, if you want to re-sign him, he's obviously really good. Do you think any of those guys that just got re-signed or signed by new teams, do you think they care about those guys aging? They're saying, oh man, Chubb's going to be 29. No, like he's 29 and he gets average of 9 sacks a season. Who cares that he's 29 or 28? Like that's what you want. So I don't understand the big deal. So then I started going further. I was like, we've had guys like this. Tamba was 23 during his rookie season with us. Mesidor will be 25. 2-year difference. We re-signed Tamba at age 28, which is when Mesidor's extension would be given to him. We re-signed Tamba again at age 32. So this notion that you're going to have Mesidor all this time for 5 years, 7 years even, because he's really good, I think if you draft him, you have good 7 years with him. How long did you think we have Justin Houston? We had Justin Houston for 8 years. If we have Mesidor till he's 32 years old and we don't sign him after that, or we waive him because he's starting to decline, that's fine. I'm happy with drafting a guy at 29 who we got 8 years out of. We had 90% of our 2022 class just leave. Do you regret drafting any of them 4 years ago just because we didn't re-sign them? No. So even if you do only have him for one contract, I don't regret it. I wouldn't regret it here. Here's another great example for you. Jared Verse and Fisk were 23 and 25 when the Rams drafted them. When you watch the Rams dominating on Sundays, you're thinking, why can't we have a line like that? You're not thinking, yeah, but he's 25 on a rookie deal. Who cares? You take a guy, and again, I think it also depends, as we said, what are you doing? What's your team about? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you retooling or are you rebuilding? If you're rebuilding, I'd see more of an argument to not take a guy like that. If you're retooling, you want a guy who's just going to give him the baton. He's going to run. Mesidor he might be 25, but he's not one of those 25-year-olds who you need to refine or like work with to make him a starter. He's ready to go. He's a day one starter. He's a day one starter, 8 to 10 sack guy. Rookie season with next to Jones, other side of Karlaftis. He's ready to go. So I'm okay. Honestly, this gets closer to draft day. If the board falls incorrectly, I'm not that against him at 9. Call me crazy. I mean, what do we want? You want a pass rusher for the next 5 years? You're going to get you 8 to 10 sacks? I mean, isn't that what you want when you get Bane? I mean, no one's thinking Bane's going to be a 15, 20 sack guy. You hope he is, but if you're expecting that, that's crazy. If I'm saying right now Mesidor is going to be an 8 to 10 sack guy for the next 5 years, I think that's worthy of a 9 pick overall. I think it's just worthy of a 9 pick overall than a 20-year-old that you might not know will pan out. I'd rather have the sure thing. If we're trying to win a championship every year, you're not trying to go for absolute ceiling. It's a mixture of floor and ceiling. And I just think we know what Mesidor is because he is 25. That's an advantage as much as it is a deterrent to getting him. So at 29, 110%. I don't think he'll last 29. I think there's too many contenders in the late teens and the early 20s are going to be like, what are we doing here? Are we all look around the room, guys? Are you all in agreement that this guy's going to be an 8 to 10 sack guy next season? Yes. Okay. Well, then just draft him. Because what are we worried about? We're trying to win, right? Like, we're not trying to just like kick the can down the road. So I don't think he'll be there at 29. I would absolutely love him at 29. I think if he's there at like 20, you trade up for him. I'm even that excited about him. Like I said, I am not that far off from being fine with him at 9. Like if you had a couple guys, if you had Downs on the board at 9, and they come up and say Mesidor, I'm not going to be mad about that. I'm not, honestly.
So you'd be okay if they draft him at 9? I don't think I've seen any mock drafts that haven't go that high.
No, I think the earliest I've seen him go is like 13.
Yeah.
So, which I think is funny, by the way. It's like 13's fine for Mesidor, but 9's, oh my God, so early. It's 4 picks.
No, I'm not talking it. I'm just saying I haven't seen him go that high.
I know you're not, but like people, you haven't seen it because people think it's early. But if 14's fine for him, then why is 9 crazy, right? Like, you just think about that. He's not going in like the most mocks of guys that know what they're doing, have him going in like the mid-teens.
Right.
So, I mean, if that's fine, then I just don't think I don't think 9's that crazy. If you said, okay, if the Chiefs said, I would love him if I was at 14, it's a weird draft, dude. It's not a lot of top end talent. So if you'd love a guy at 14, take him at 9. Like, if that's your guy, that's your guy. Like, did the board fall the way you wanted to? No, but like, you're still getting the top 3 pass rusher in the friggin' draft. He's way more polished than Reese. You want a project or you want a sure thing?
Right.
So, I mean, would I be going in there saying like Mesidor 9, Mesidor 9? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not. Because, I mean, there are questions. I think you can get him later. But if we came away with that, I totally get it. And I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah, I think you bring up a lot of good points. And I think not every team can afford to draft a guy like older like that. Like we talked about with this team, the way we're set up, the way we're going to be set up for the entirety of Mahomes and Andy Reid's tenure, you need to win right away. Like you need guys who are going to be contributing to that right away. And there's not much of a project with him because he's kind of already what he is at this point, and he can be that guy from day one. So yeah, I wouldn't mind if we draft him at 9. Like, sure, that's not my guy. I want a 9, but I'd see the vision if they did draft him at 9. And I see the vision they draft him at 29, or where if they traded up to get him. If we draft somebody else at 9, we see him fall to like 16, and we can trade up to get him. I see the vision in that. So yeah, I do get that. I have seen people dog his age, but again, like, this isn't the NBA. We aren't drafting guys who are freshmen and hoping that in 4 years' time they're going to be that dude. No, we're trying to win right now, so we're trying to get guys who are going to contribute to that. So I do think Mesidor is definitely goes into what we want.
I also think the whole age thing is a little outdated. I think that's like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Like, we're in the NIL age. Like, the average age of draftees are just going up. So it's not what it was a long time ago. 25 was like, Social Security status 10, 15 years ago. It's not that far off anymore. It's really not. Like, so like what, 23 is considered an average age or fine, young. But like 25 is ancient. I mean, again, if all you're worried about is what's going to happen when his contract comes up, but then you look around, he's going to be 28 when seeking that extension. 28's a ripe number for an extension. Like, these guys are getting paid at 28. They're getting paid top 15, 20 money at 28. So it's really not crazy to want to do that, thinking like, oh, are we going to rewind? Just ask yourself, will you, if he's a good player for you, a good pass rusher, are you going to have a problem re-signing him at 28? If the answer is no, then who cares? Because that's 2 contracts. At that point, he's your player for almost 8 years. That's enough time. That's totally fine.
That's another thing too. DJ Jesse once says, the fact that he's got a 25-year-old brain. Forget about being a 25-year-old guy. He's got a 25-year-old brain. He's a mature dude. He's not like your average 21, 22-year-old rookie coming in. No. And also too, I will say there's a lot of drawing. I've seen people talk about the NIL in the conversation in the chat. But I will say, guy who's 25 who has been making NIL money for the last probably 5 years or whatever, however long he's for a long time. Coming into the league and getting that stack of money, right? Like I remember everyone saw Xavier Worthy's when he got drafted, in the mirror with his girlfriend, like holding the money with as a phone or whatever. This guy's not gonna be doing that. He's 25 years old. He's a grown man, for crying out loud. But he's not gonna be doing that. And these guys are all used to money now too. So they've been getting it for such a long time in college. None of this stuff's gonna phase them, especially a 25-year-old dude, right? So I actually do like the age for us. We're in a unique spot where we are a team that doesn't matter.
We're not the Browns, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not for everybody to do this, but if we're a team that's admittedly retooling and trying to win right now, then get a win now player. It's pretty much signing a cheap free agent is what it is. For at the end. Not to mention he can also play nose tackle. So he can play inside and wreak havoc. He did this year. They shifted him and Van everywhere, and he can play straight up and just dominate guards.
Versatility, and then we value that most on our defensive line and offensive line. So
yep,
yeah, I'm a Mesidor guy, and I if you just take away the age aspect, he would be a top 10 pick. No question.
Dude, he'd be like a top 3 to 5 pick if he was 2 years younger.
Yeah,
think about that. So again, who cares about the extra 2 years?
That shouldn't phase us. So our team.
Yeah, especially when you don't re-sign guys at the rates we do. Then who cares about how old they are after their first contract?
Yeah. All right. So my next guy, sticking with the offensive line theme for myself this week, I got Spencer Fano. We're sticking with the offensive line. We're sticking with my friends over there. All right, let me get my notes here. Okay, so Utah tackle Spencer Fano. And this is a guy that's been, if you've seen a lot of the mock drafts, so like Mauigoa, Fano's another name that comes up a lot. 6'6", 311 pounds. Fano might be one of the best pure athletes in the entire draft class, offensive line class specifically. And obviously, if you follow Andy Reid and Brett Veach, they like to get most of their offensive linemen, especially movement skills, from these guys. And Fano would be another guy to kind of emulate the other dude. So at the combine here in a 4.9 140, posted the top overall athletic score among offensive tackles and had the best 3-cone time of any offensive lineman. On tape, that does show up when he's pulling across the formation, climbing to the second level, or reaching defenders on outside zone runs. Simply put, if you look at him, he moves like a tight end in a offensive tackle's body. During his 2025 junior season at Utah, Fano allowed 0 sacks and just 5 total pressures on 357 pass blocking snaps. And pretty good because that Utah team, it wasn't the best Utah team. They had a lot of problems this past year. And they were passing a lot in those games too. So the fact he only allowed 5 total pressures this year, really good, because this wasn't the Utah team that was in contention for the Pac-12 every year. This is not that team. So the fact he was able to do this with this team, pretty good. His kick slide is smooth. He has light feet, and he mirrors edge rushers pretty well. Perfect guy to have when blocking for Patrick Mahomes. And what do we love? We just talked about versatility. And this guy's a versatile guy. Fano started 35 games at both left and right tackle, which means he's comfortable playing both on either side. And then, as we talked about, that right tackle spot, there's an opening. If you're not a Jalen Moore fan, there's a spot there for this guy. And because the Chiefs have been reshuffling their offensive line over the last few years, Kingsley from tackle to guard, to tackle to guard, it shows you that this team does like and value guys who can play a little bit of everything on the offensive line. His arm length measured at just over 32 inches, which is shorter than what teams traditionally want from NFL tackles. Because of that, some scouts think he could eventually be more of a guard or even a center, some scouts say, which I didn't really like reading that. His leaner build means he could occasionally struggle anchoring against elite power rushers, so adding more lower body strength will be key at the next level. Fano has played over 2,200 snaps at tackle and allowed 0 sacks last season and dominated Big 12 offensive fronts while winning Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year and becoming Outland Trophy finalist. If he stays at tackle, you might be getting a high-end bookend protector. If he moves inside, you can be looking at a dominant all-pro caliber interior lineman. Either way, you got a guy who's elite and athletic and versatile, which fits the Andy Reid blueprint. So that is Spencer Fano from Utah. Tej, what are your thoughts on Spencer Fano?
He's a lot of people's number one. And I think the only reason why Mauigoa has kind of moved ahead of him is because of the arm length. And I think Campbell's Super Bowl performance has kind of like question. It's funny when one guy does poorly in the NFL, it kind of like ripples, right? So now people are like, oh no. I mean, he's got shorter arms than Campbell, which he does, but he also has I think he has a longer total wingspan by like, I think 2 or 3, 4 inches. So that does matter for a O lineman. Good pedigree too. 4 uncles in the NFL. Great. I mean, just his combine workouts are awesome. And he has the tape to back it up. He's a really good pass blocker, elite zone run blocker. I think his grades, I had it here. It's 92.7 run block rating zone. So he's a zone run blocking animal. Meat hooks for hands, lay on his feet, attack mode through the whistle. He plays light, needs to get a little stronger. He is a little light, but that's pretty much it. I mean, you're looking at, like we said with Mauigoa, even more so, I think, with him is all pro guard or even center. But his tape has been good enough to give him a couple years of tackle to see if he can do it. I think that's what you're getting with him. So he had what's his name? What's his comp? AVT Tucker. So he has got Tucker comparisons, athleticism wise, and Fontenot comp, but not as long because Fontenot is a little longer. But just really athletic guys who can
have Darisaw, Paris Johnson, and Broderick Jones as his comparisons. Pretty good comparisons.
Yeah. I think Broderick Jones is a little bigger though, wasn't he? I think he was big, right? Broderick Jones huge.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference. So yeah, it's just really athletic. Just again, ready to play now though. Like he's your starting right tackle. So I guess if we did this, does that just mean like Jalen Moore is one of the worst signings we've had in like a long time? Like we signed him and drafted 2 first-round linemen to replace him both years.
Well,
like, that's
but I don't
awful,
think when you saw that deal though, like I don't think anyone saw that Jalen Moore was the future, right? Like people saw it as a 2-year like stopgap.
I mean,
so it's 2 years, man. It wasn't a long-term deal. So I mean, it's
no, but like he never even got the chance to like start the season as that position. Like he just got replaced instantly, and then he got replaced the next year as soon as Jawan Taylor leaves. It's like, oh, Jalen Moore's our starter, and we drafted a right tackle, so he's not our starter. So he never even got the chance to start at either position to start the year. So it just means he was showing something they didn't like in practice. So it's just an observation. If we do that, right? I'm saying.
Like, do you think he is the guy for the like? Do you think he would be not future? Do you think he'd be a guy as far as day one starter between him and Mauigoa?
I think whoever you draft at 9, he better be your starter right tackle. Otherwise, what are we doing?
Okay, so you think either one of those guys would be day one dudes at the right tackle spot?
They better be. It's a huge investment.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. They better be, because if you're taking them at 9, it means you think that highly of them. To take them at 9 and be like, we're going to wait it out, though. Get a little better first. It's like, well, then why the hell did you take him at 9? So if you think that he's your starter for the next 5 years, then take him. And by 5 years, I mean now too. So.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, I think either way, you have to start these guys. He had number 9 better be day one pick. Yeah,
9 starting. He has to. 9 is our second biggest offseason addition, next to Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. I mean, contractually and just like profile and hype. Like he's our number 2 acquisition of the season, of the offseason. So yeah. Number 29, I think, would be technically like number 3 or 4 top acquisition. So both those guys better be starters, in my opinion.
Yeah, 29 would be 3 for sure. Brennan wants to know who would you rather have between Mauigoa or Fano. I think you're a Mauigoa guy.
They're both pretty similar. I think I go Fano right now. Because his problem, I know he's got the shorter arms, but it comes down to what would you rather have, a tackle with shorter arms or a guy who's slower laterally and gets beat by speed rushers. That's tough, right? So I think he just needs to gain a little more weight. But I think, dude, 90, what was it, 90 something zone blocking rating too on top of it. I mean, like he's an elite run blocker. I think him and Trey Smith on the right side would just be nasty, man.
I mean, I think with both those guys, I think you'd have two elite run guys on the right for sure.
Yeah. And both guys pretty much profile the same in that like their fallback is being a really good guard. So I don't think you're really missing out on that regard. I think they're going to come through for you either way. I'd probably at this point go Fano, but it's really close.
All right. And yeah, I'll have another Utah guy after this one.
Both guys so far I played right tackle last year, which is pretty good. So there's no switching up for them, right? Like I know they can do it, but it's nice just to know they would just slot right into what they played last year.
Yeah, that's very true. And that's what we're not used to, right? Well, Simmons was left tackle, but the Kingsley situation, second round pick, we had to move him to freaking
Yeah, that's not out of college though. That's just because he couldn't handle in the NFL.
Yeah, which it's always gonna be sad. I think that's something that it's always gonna be in the back of Chief fans' minds. That's why there's a lot of Chief fans who don't want to take a tackle, just because I think the Kingsley experiment, going from tackle to guard, is resonated in their head, and they don't even want to deal with that again.
Yeah, you also have to take into consideration, I know they're the best tackles available, but it's also kind of like a weak tackle year in a way. Like as far as top end, there's no bona fide stud left tackle out there, right? So like you kind of these guys are usually like high teens type picks, right? Like right tackle or guard type guys. They're usually a little later, but they're just moved up because of the lack of top end talent here. So just keep that in mind too. I know people say the best tackle in the draft, but best tackle in a draft without a lot of top tackles is not as good as what it sounds like.
Yeah. And Marcus Casey doesn't need another guard, in my opinion. Right tackle is a must. Yeah, I mean, we were just saying because both Mauigoa and Fano both are tackles, but at the worst case, they can be converted to guards. But yes,
they're stud linemen. Let's just say they're stud linemen.
Yeah,
but I'll take a stud lineman.
But a lot of experts are saying they can be moved to guard if tackle does not work out for them. That's where the guard part comes in. We're drafting them to be right tackles. But if that doesn't work out, they can be guards. It's not just a tackle or bust thing. So, are we sure our guards are good?
Jeez, I hope so. I think Kingsley had a duty. Kingsley pretty much had a rookie year at guard. Yeah. I think we drafted him to be a guard. Let's wipe out his rookie season. Let's say we drafted him last year in the second round to be our starting guard. I think we would have been happy with that performance.
For sure.
That's his first year starting guard in the NFL. I think he did fine. If he just improves marginally, I mean, he's a fine starting guard. I don't think he doesn't, not every single starter on our line has to be absolutely elite. I think he's a fine starting guard. Trey Smith, I mean, we've talked about this before. It's a big contract. I'm not unhappy with Trey Smith's play overall. I'm unhappy in relation to what he gets paid. Yes, I do want to see him improve this year. I do want to see him get better. Get back to where he was like 2 years ago.
Yeah. And I do think his numbers PFF wise, and I think JD's optics wise, he was rough at the beginning half of the year. Second half of the year, he actually got better. He got better as the year went on. Trey Smith did. But when they get paid that much, we need that kind of play sustained.
People are looking at with the magnifying glass, man.
Hey, when you get that big paycheck, that's what it comes with it. Marcus, we'll be. That's my next guy I'm talking about. So don't you worry, buddy. Don't you worry. All right, so Teja's going to send us over his last one of the night.
So I kind of gave you my list already, so you kind of can't be too surprised. It's Gabe Jacas out of Illinois, 6'4", 260, 33-inch arms, 10-inch hands, 27 sacks over 50 games at Illinois. Productive player. 16.8 pass rush win rate. Former back-to-back wrestling state champion in high school, by the way. So I love when I hear that, man. 4-year starter, one program. He's like a unicorn nowadays. How can you say that? He's like the Travis Kelce of college football. Could definitely grow into a 3-down pass rushing edge. He's played at different weights, which I like, and I think will like that a lot. Because he can play at a heavier weight and still be effective. And then he got down to 260 toward the end of this year. Zero fear. He sets the edge. Good frame. A power rusher, can play all 3 downs. He can play in different fronts. I want to summarize him. So he's the kind of build mixed with output, mixed with measurements and production. Those kind of guys don't usually fail in the pros, right? He's not the twitchiest guy, but he's got like everything else, right? Great interviews. I watched an interview with him and the NBC, Connor Rogers. Great. Really good dude. Head on his shoulders. Easy going guy. Just plays video games. Shocker. He played heavy, and then I think he was 260 at the combine. I think he said his most comfortable weight is 260. His comps, which I really liked, especially I like the Matthew Judon one. I think it's pretty fitting for him. He also got a Trey Hendrickson and Marcus Davenport. He is a second round top 40 is what I've seen and heard about him. But I have seen him get some, I guess depends on the scheme, can go up into the first round. So you're looking at kind of similar to TJ Parker, 25 to 40. I'd say probably 28 to 40. He's probably a little later.
Yeah, the one thing I loved about his tape and what I read about him, it was his consistency. Like from day one, he was a contributor to Illinois as a freshman, and it kind of build right, and you want to see that stack and stack and stack. Yeah, stat there: 4 sacks, 8 sacks, 11 sacks. Just got better throughout the years for him as you got mature and get older. So you do like that. And yeah, right away come in and be that guy for you. As far as like athleticism score, I know you said Matthew Judon. Matthew Judon was pretty solid for the Patriots and the Ravens for a little bit. Athleticism wise, where does he stand out compared to some of these other guys in this draft? And of course, arm length.
33 and then 10-inch hands.
Okay.
So again, not the twitchiest. Let me see his PFF breakdown here. Give me a second. Okay. I just had it. There you go. Oh my gosh. There you go. Let's see. There are athleticism scores here. Just overall grade was 76.5, 90.4 pass rush grade, 90.4 pass rush on true pass sets grade, which is always important too. Like I said, 16.8 pass rush win rate, 86th percentile. It's really high. 61.7 run defense grade, 7.9 run stop percentage, which is 78th percentile. His worst stat, I think, was 15.1 missed tackle percentage, which is 37th percentile. Not very good. But I think that's it for him. Just not the twitchiest. He's not a freak. If he was a freak, he'd be probably top 15 or with all the other stuff he's got going for him. But I think you could say he's also been hurt by playing at a heavier weight for a long time, right? So that's probably why he wants to play at 260, because he can keep his aggressiveness and his strength, but get a little faster, right, at that lower weight.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that I've seen there, like at my picks. I do mocks at pick 40.
Yeah, I take him all the time at 40.
Now, would this be a guy you would take as like a double up edge, or would you be okay taking him as your first edge? Let's say we don't go at 29 or at 9, and then he's there at 40, and like, okay, there you go.
I mean, look, if the board falls in such a way and there's just like absolute studs, I'll give you an example. let's say we go tackle on the first at 9 because we're just enamored with one of the two guys that are there. Let's say Jordan Tyson's still there at 20 and we trade up for 29 and 20 to get Jordan Tyson. I mean, at that point, yeah, you're just going to pick the best. Not only pigeonhole yourself into a edge at 40, but if Atkins is there at 40, yeah, we'd be winning the draft at that point. You got 3 starters. In my opinion, you could start him. Would you want to bring another guy along to be a vet there as well? Sure. You don't want to like put all your eggs in a rookie's basket in the second round. But I think he could be your starter.
Yeah, he's an intriguing one. And anytime you see a guy with a wrestling background, that's something that, like,
two-time state champ. It's no joke, dude. He could wrestle, man. Which is actually pretty crazy to see his missed tackle on percentage so high. He's a freaking wrestler.
That is very interesting. Yeah. Marcus Greer asks Zion Young at 29 or Gabe Jacas at 40.
Now, if you're telling me who's that player you're getting at 29. Right? I mean, if you're telling me we got a stud at 29 and then
but Zion Young at 29 or Jacas at 40.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you're telling me we get a stud at 29 and still get Akis at 40? I'm going Akis then at 40.
Oh, okay.
I like Zion. I think Zion's one of those edge setting guys too. I think Zion will probably be next on my list for me. We'll do him at some point this offseason. Okay. He's gotten a lot of buzz too. People were kind of like blah about him for a while. I was pretty blah about him. Mark, I'm tired of edge setting DNs, man. Like I keep hearing that. It's like that just means you're way better at run defense than you are pass, and we need juice. But I think Zion can be your juicy guy. I just think we need a little more juice. I'm fine with Akis at 40, but that's because you're talking about 9 and 29 just being like out of world prospects that you couldn't pass up. That's the only reason I would do that. But that's why I prefer Mesidor, right? Because I think Mesidor has that elite type of juice at pass rush. I think he would just be a special guy to be able to get. I think everyone kind of after that is either like a situational pass rusher like a Cassius Howell or more of like the edge setters who can, through improvements and efforts get you to like 7 to 9 sacks. I think those guys are close. Dare I say they're closer to like a Karlaftis. And there's a reason why Karlaftis went where he did. Right. And it's not a bad thing. I just think two of those guys and Jones and someone else, I think we want more juice out of the other side of Karlaftis. So hey, I'm a big George fan. I spent all week and all weekend defending George. So don't get me started on George. I'll go on a tangent about him. But I like George a lot. I just think you need a complement. You have your setting, right, edge setting, high motor guy. I think you need more of like a juicy, twitchy speed guy. And by the way, yes, Howell is definitely juice. That's all he's got. He's just juice. He's a pile of juice. He's like, the big like things they put inside like the fountain soda. He's just a big bag of syrup.
Yeah.
But like that's pretty much all he is, though. You're talking about short arms. I mean, Howell's got the shortest arms in history. Talk about short arms for a second, though, because I forgot which podcast I was listening to. Though it gets fishy, right? Like we're talking about however many years of measurement collecting at the combine. You have the 2 shortest arms for a DN in history the same year. I mean, maybe that is possible, but that's kind of crazy. And there were GMs kind of like getting defensive about their scouts and they can't reach some of the guys' arms because they're too tall. It's a little sketchy, man. I don't know if I trust all these because a lot of the spring measurements for these guys are like an inch off. That's a lot, dude. How are you that off? Right. It's just kind of weird. Like a lot of these guys, most of them, different measurements across the board, some longer, some shorter. It's just weird. So we'll see what they measure at the pro day. They might give Bain another inch on his pro day.
I did read that with Bain, there's multiple scouts that did get their own measurements with Bain, and it was like 32 or 33 with his arm length. So like, it's like the Cardell Tate thing, right? He ran a 4 like 6, but some scouts clocked him at a 4.4, 4.5. So, I mean, each scout's doing their own due diligence on everything too, right? Like the NFL's got their own thing, but each scout's doing their own due diligence. So,
I would just bet on Bain. I would bet on Bain, and that's a full-time starter, right? I would bet on Howell. I would bet on Howell as a situational pass rusher who could maybe blossom into more.
Do you think Howell could last to 29 or 40 or no?
I think he could last to 29 because of his arm length. I mean, if Bain can last till 10 when he was like a number 2 shoe-in a month ago, I think Howell can go from like teens to 29.
Yeah. And would you take Howell at 12? Let's say we get a tackle or receiver.
Yeah, I didn't mention him earlier. Yeah, because he's so situational. I don't think he's a full-time D end right now. I think
gets the juice part that we all want and crave.
I think he's a day one situational pass rusher. I think you put him out, you let him loose, dude. You open that, it's like that scene in Gladiator when they open the cages and the tigers just come out. Like that's I think you let Hal out to do his thing. I don't think he's a full-time player, but there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of guys aren't at first and they just slowly work their way up.
Yeah. All right. So that was your final guy for the night. And my next guy is Caleb Lomu, which I think Marcus Greer was asking about him earlier. The final offensive lineman I'll be talking about tonight. Honestly, I might not talk about any more offensive linemen outside of this. I know there's the Freeling guy, but I think I'll go with just these 3. Okay, so let's talk about Caleb Lomu. So if you're wondering why Caleb Lomu keeps popping up in draft conversations around the Chiefs, it comes down to 2 things. Kansas City values more than most anything on the offensive line: pass protection and athleticism. Again, another Utah guy who is athletic. 6'6", around 310. Lomu is one of the best pure pass blocking tackles in the entire draft class. Over the past 2 seasons at Utah, his development has been really impressive. In 2024, redshirt freshman, he allowed 2 sacks, 17 pressures across more than 400 pass blocking reps. And then in 2029, took a major leap, allowing 0 sacks on 382 pass blocking snaps. Obviously, for a team built around Patrick Mahomes, extending plays, we want a guy who can stop a rush against their quarterback. Very smooth for how he moves for his size at 6'6", 310. Lomu is a fleet-footed mover with a great lateral agility, which obviously we talked about Mauigoa not really having that lateral, which allows him to mirror speed rushers and stay square and pass pro. His kick slide is clean. His hands are technically sound, and if he does lose position early in a rep, his elite flexibility and recovery ability help him reset. The Chiefs run a lot of zone concepts, but they've also mixed in more gap runs like guard, tackle, counters, and screens. And Lomu's added athleticism allows him to climb to the second level, pull across the formation, and locate defenders in space. The biggest question right now is functional strength in the run game. He doesn't consistently move defenders off the ball yet. His anchor can get tested by powerful edge rushers. So that's something that the other 2, Fano and Mauigoa, don't really have an issue with that. But here's why teams are betting on him. Lomu has only 1,600 career snaps, relatively young, and his frame has room to add another about 15 to 20 pounds. And we're talking about a guy who's 6'6", 310 right now. So he can add 15 to 20 pounds of functional strength without losing that rare athleticism. So that means the player you're drafting, unlike the Mauigoas, unlike Fano, you're not getting that dude right away. It's kind of more development project with him, but you're betting on an athlete and a guy who's got room to grow essentially. But you're talking about a guy who's an elite level pass protector already at that right tackle spot or at the tackle spot with Lomu. He's more of a left tackle. Now this is a guy you'd be pulling from left tackle to right tackle, and that's where an issue kind of therein lies for us here. So what do you make of Caleb Lomu? Oh yeah, these are his player comps: Roger Rosengard, Troy Fontenot, and Abraham Lucas. So those are his
Great.
comps. Pretty good. So are you a Lomu guy?
I'd rather have Lomu at 29 than the other 2 guys at 9. That's where I stand on him. I don't think he's that far away from those guys. He's some people's tackle 1. I mean, he just turned 21. Another young guy, redshirt sophomore. Dude started at left tackle at 19 and 20 years old. good athlete, great foot speed, can mirror, can recover when he gets beat. He has the flexibility to deal with benders. He can get down low, smooth. One thing I loved when I kept hearing about him was like some guys play a little out of sync with their upper and lower. He's completely smooth and in sync with everything. Good lean to him. His run blocking is a little raw. You're right. It's his pad level consistency, and he kind of leans when he run blocks. But he's gotten strong, and he's a little light, so he can't be beat on the hard power rushers. But he's gotten stronger every year. He's got a good mentality. He's got good balance, awareness. Everything's improved for him every year. Is what you want. I think why I would prefer him at 29 and other guys at 9 is because it's pretty consensus. All the guys I've listened to about him, they all agree in that he's boom or high floor. So he can either be really great, but again, at worst, he's already good. Like he can already start for you. So you have a good starter or like an elite starter. And that to me at 29, I'm fine with that. Like, I've never been in the camp of tackle's not sexy early. But if you can cross another thing off, like this is what I was talking about with like Akis at 40. If you got Carnell Tate at 9, you get Lomu at 29, you get Akis at 40, you're cooking, man. I love that. Again, 3 possible starters right there. I think that's great. I would rather do that because those other 2 guys above him at 9, they're not falling at 29, and they're not bona fide like franchise changing tackles. They're not. Anytime you're saying like could always play guard if it doesn't work out, I don't want that at 9. I mean, would I be happy with it because that's who the Chiefs envision taking over that right tackle spot, and they have a plan for him. I trust us, so I'm not like it's not a brand new GM where I'm like, what are you doing, man? I trust us, but knowing what I know at this point, I would just rather take that. They profile close enough for me to say, give me Lomu at 29. Could he start day one? I think he still could. You want him to get him to an NFL weight program and maybe take over for more as the season progresses. That'd be a guy in that kind of middle there who I still think could take over a right tackle right away, or he could take over once more gets exposed for sucking. I'm not saying he's going to, by the way. I'm saying if he does.
Do you think with Lomu, right? He's a left tackle, but obviously, he can pretty athletic kid. He can play all over the place. Do you think that there would be somewhat of a competition for the left tackle spot since he is primarily left tackle, or he would be a kind of Joe Alt situation where he would come in, he would go right. He would go right like Alt did, right? Because they already had what's his name, Slater. Slater plays left. Joe Alt comes in, he goes to right away. Would that be the kind of thing they move him over to right tackle, or do you think there'd be more of a potential competition at left, and then they say, hey, whoever loses this is the right tackle?
No, I think ideally if we drafted Lomu, my guess would be Jalen Moore starts the year at right tackle, and you get Lomu acclimated to right tackle. It's an adjustment. I mean, if he could play left tackle at a high level at 19 and 20, he can play right tackle, but it is an adjustment. But he's athletic enough to do that, right? If he had slower feet and if mirroring and recovery were a problem, I would be a little more worried about him switching sides. But I think with his profile, I think he'd be fine switching sides. Maybe you don't want to start him day one at switching sides, but week 5 or 6, Moore gives up 3 sacks to a DN, and you're like, you know what? Let's just give Lomu a shot at right tackle. Let's get him in there. Kind of like what I heard the Raiders are going to do with Mendoza. They're not going to start him day one either. Is he ready to start? They draft him 1 overall? Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah, and he like we said, I mean, he was one of amongst the most athletic linemen in this draft. 4.9 40, ran a 1.7 a 10-yard split. So like he's an athletic kid. So yeah, I think he's athletic enough to be able to play the right side if they do move him to the right side spot. And also too with and I know people get mad at me for saying this, with the mystery surrounding Josh Simmons, right? Like the whole him going MIA during the middle of the season with the family stuff going on. That is scary. Until we see what's going on with that, and like if it happens again. So right now, I think everyone's kind of on their pins and needles. That's why when we hear these tackle rumors of us being interested, it's like, oh, they must not be trusting Josh Simmons. I think he's fine. But for the mere point, if there is something that happens with that again, you have a guy like Lomu who can be left tackle if something does happen with Josh Simmons, who can play that left tackle spot. So I do like that.
Yeah, that could be a nice little hedge too. You have a guy who can play left tackle, right tackle, and probably put him at guard too. I mean, he just needs to get a little stronger, I think. That's all.
Yeah. The athleticism's there for that size, which is great. You don't really see guys move like that at that 6'6", 310 range.
Yeah, and he's gotten stronger and bigger every year, right? So he's getting there. He's working his way there.
Yep. So that will do it. That does it for our week 2 of our prospects show. So Wednesday night, JD and I will be back. We talk about kind of what we've done so far. We've talked about some of the other signings we've had. I think we've only signed DeMarcado since our last show. So we'll talk about DeMarcado, what he can be for this team on Wednesday. But yeah, Mike Brand, Marcus talked about late round D-tackle last Monday. I got a late round edge. I'd love to hear y'all's opinion on Caden Kerr from Ohio State. Ooh, you Caden Curry guy, Dave.
We'll work our way to late round, guys. I'll get there eventually.
I think I was kind of infatuated by Don Corleone. Just his name being Don Corleone, the Godfather. So I wanted.
That's not even that late though. That's what, like second, third round.
Yeah, second, third. Yeah.
Not even that bad. It's still pretty early.
I was blinded by his name. So yeah, let's talk about him on day one.
I think that's the latest prospect we've talked about so far, right? Everyone else has been pretty much first, second round guys.
Yeah. All of them first, second guys.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But all right, guys. Well, it does it for us on this Monday evening. Thank you guys for bearing with us on the late start tonight. But yeah, I'll be back Wednesday night. I'll be sure to start it on time at 8:15. Tomorrow night, I'll be on the Roundtable Sports Network. So if you guys want to come on there, 6:30 tomorrow, we will talk with the AFC West fellas. I'll be talking about our moves, the DeMarcado move, the Fields move a little bit more as well, and you'll be hearing my input on the lack of moves around the AFC West, because outside the Raiders, Chargers haven't done anything. The Broncos haven't done anything. They've only lost guys. So you'll hear me kind of dunk on some of the other teams' content creators. But yeah, guys. So 6:30 tomorrow night on Roundtable Sports Network. You'll see me there, and then Wednesday, myself and JD, 8:15 for JD's long-awaited return to the channel. So we'll see you guys Wednesday. We hope everybody enjoyed Chief Concerns presented by FanDuel. We will see you guys next time. Take it easy, everybody. Love y'all.
Love y'all. Later.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.